Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ronaldo. I'm an Android developer at Deconion. You can see my Twitter. If you want to see me reposting some random stuff from Google people, you can just follow them directly. And today we're talking about permissions. Beautiful permissions that we, since Marshmallow, we have to do it. And it's great fun. But when I say the clean way, let's do a very quick recap. There is a lot of talk on architecture and what's clean, what's not. Sometimes they don't do those. Sorry, I want to preface any part of the talk with, we had a lot of very good talks that was 1.5 years preparing for this thing. That's a community day talk. I was yes until 1 a.m. throwing together something, so there will be mistakes. The code that will show probably doesn't compile, but I hope you all get a good idea of what I'm trying to achieve here. Anyway, carry on. So just a quick recap. In clean architecture, some places you'll see, like on those more backend related, is usually a circle with the blue part in the middle, some adapters, and then the services are all around. Android usually try to do this linear data flow thing, so there are services. Those services are connected by the repository, which deals with your domain layer, and this part to the presentation. Someone very smart decides the presentation should divide again. So there's the view model where we put all the logic, and the view, which is just dumb, and it just presents that pre-parsed, pre-mapped, pre-arranged data. On official Android documentation, you find it like this. There's the activity, which is your view or the fragment or your recycle view adapter. Your view model, where you will be processing your view data, view logic. The repository, which supplies your blue area here, and then your data sources. Usually, they only focus on, a REST API or GraphQL maybe, or an internal database caching. But I feel for mobile devices, your data sources go further than that. What about your Bluetooth device? It's inside the device, but it's really external to your application. The same goes for your GPS, for your permissions, from all those stuff that's really a system from the Android or from Google Play services. And they should be there as well. And we try to make them testable and useful. So how do we ask permission? According to the official docs. I simplify little bits and bobs just to fit into a slide, but it's kind of like this. When the user clicks something, we check. We have a permission to do whatever is the API I'm going to need to use. If yes, permission granted, we go and use the API. If not, but we should request, show the user the rationale. There's a pop-up. You go, make a pretty pop-up, say we really need to know if you're at home or at work, for example. Or else you can just say, yeah, let's request a permission. There's a nice system pop-up for that. And after the system pop-up, you have the callback for the result. And you can check again, do I have permission? Yes, no, granted. I can use the API. Else, I'm going to tell the user, I'm sorry, I really need to know where you are now, because I'm creepy like that. So OK, we know we should put the logic on the view model. So the naive approach, let's try to put this into the view model. Well, the context compat, we cannot really do. The show request rationale is really fragment and activity stuff. It's not really possible to put in there. So at the end, what you get is just that. View model, use the API, and you still have if-else around your view codes. And I don't like if-else on my view code. If-else has to go on my view model. But we have great libraries. Let's see what the libraries give to us. I had a very strong 3-minute Googling around for the libraries available yesterday at midnight 30. And I found those two basic groups. Delegate and annotation is how I'm calling them. So the delegate, you just pass a this to this special object, which will be your fragment or your activity or your context. Everything okay?
Perfect. You can talk.
Okay, that's uncomfortable. I'm going to wait. No, no problems. It's technical difficulties. You know, code is hard. We cool? We cool. Hello? Okay, cool. Thanks. Hello? Yeah, cool. Oh, not yet? Don't have to be too hidden. Yeah. OK, so on the permission result, then for the delegate, you just give to your delegate. And usually they give you either a little builder with listeners, you pass a lambda to it, or you can have a little helper on the builder, on the delegate type. And then the annotation types, usually they do some reflection or some KAPT processing to do some magic in the background for us when we receive the callbacks a bit pre-made, but your view is still like, I need that permission or that permission for those things, and that's what we have. And my question is, are any of that really clean with all those if-else inside your view being aware of what it has to be requested? There's very system request, a permission. It's a permission type android.content. Something, location, I guess. And I don't think it is. And don't forget to don't repeat yourself. Imagine an application, you have an onboarding. You tell the user, hey, we might need your location. Do you want to give us now? You put this logic once. And someone else inside your application will have maybe a map view, where you say, yeah, well, I really need the location now because you're in the map area. Maybe you have a camera on your application somewhere to scan a QR code. On this part, you have to repeat the logic, but changing just for the camera permission instead. So there's some repetition of that view logic in there. So there's two stuff broken around. Have logic on the view and things. So let's see what my dream for the data service of a permission. It's simple, it's short. I have a flow. Everybody loves flow. It's the great new thing we have available. It gives you very directly, straightforward of the state within. You have it. You should request for the user. You should tell the user why, or you say, no, the only way now if you jump to the settings. You have a name on your data class for the permission, and you have a set of those. You can iterate, you can filter, you can collect them, and a suspended to request. And whenever this suspension returns, you know the request went through, and the flow should be updated. So how are we going to do this on the red area there? It's a singleton inside that red area, and it's going to go through your business model to repository. You have a location repository that only starts requesting the Google Play Services location after it knows you have the permission. And there's a ViewModel that's some other use case. So we have to divide in parts. See, I did really at midnight. It says on the previous one is a set, and now it's a list. I think set is better for this case. Erase that. A little preface from this part. There is this open source library, PermissionBite, that I worked before. That's PermissionBite because I've learned in Germany you have to be polite, so you ask nicely. And permission because I don't know how to say permission in German, so stay in English. And over there, the use case for that library is I want one call that's going to just go and ask the user every permission that's on the manifest. I don't care. I just want to ask everything. It was like a one fire and forget type of library. And the thing that I felt interesting and I'm reusing here, that library, you don't have to put an annotation or a marking which permission you want to request. You already wrote it down. It's there on the manifest. So what we do, we pick the context here, probably shouldn't be private because there will be other parts of code using, but it's there. This little nice helper. You get your context, your package manager. You request the package info about permissions. You get all the names of the declared permissions on your manifest. The groups. The groups is important. If a permission does not have a group, if it's null, it means a custom permission, and you should just ignore it. It's not part of the Android core permissions. And the flags where you can check the state. And then you can do a nice little logic. It's an array of strings, another array of nullable strings, an array of integers. You can throw this another helper method that can be 100% unit tested. And you can extract those three values there: granted, requested, show rationale. I could not find a way to get the denied permanently without actually requesting. And you receive back on the fragment, and only inside that moment you can check should show rationale. If yes, it still show rationale. If not, you deny it for good. Maybe there's a new API. Maybe I've missed something. Let me know. But anyway, we have good part of our information here. We can already pre-initialize a flow there on the beginning with a map. I'm using maps, going to be useful later. And I transform this map into a set and make distinction to satisfy the interface. So that's our first state for our permissions we can get. Moving on, we want to update this permission even every time we resume the activity. The reason for this, the user is capable on Android. Go to the settings and play around with those values and come back to us. Also, whenever there's the pop-up for permission and back will be resumed again, we can do a little update, make sure we are in sync with the system, because that's not really our data, it's a system data. So there is this activity lifecycle callback since API 14, great, easy to use. On every activity getting resumed, we use that same extract method, pick all of them, and do a merging on this updating permission. What I've mentioned about the denied, you can really get inside that the callback for request. And so it's important when receiving new data, like once it's denied, if the user goes back to the settings and enable it and back into your application, it will be resumed and it will be updated to resume granted. So now it's good. You're not going to have, because denied is either show rationale or not. So once denied, it's not going to go back to show rationale. It can only go back to the granted state. So it's kind of awkward. I know. That's what we have API to work with. I'm doing my best here. But anyway, we do a mapping there to make sure to not miss the denied state. Again, this helper method is just a little data, 100% unit test, and yeah. And you can update the flow. Let's move on. Let's prepare the request. Sorry. So completable deferred. Kotlin is so nice. So that's on other languages you see called a future or promise, and is the way to make a coroutine without using one of those constructors. You can wait on it until whenever you need to, and it's an object you can pass around and tell someone else to complete for you. I put a filter on the beginning. I don't know who is calling this method. Maybe it shouldn't be a set of permissions, it should be just a set of string. But we can filter out if they're asking something that you don't need, something that doesn't exist. You make sure it's good data, an early return. You create a completable deferred. You hold on to it. You're going to need it later. And you request permission internal, we'll see later. And wait until someone else gives you this result. Having the result, again, is just mapping, parsing data. I think on this data class for the result, we would need the should show rationale. Again, it was very late yesterday. It's an exercise for the reader here. Just follow the logic of it, and you can do it at home again or at work, better than getting paid for it. And yeah, it's still kind of the same. You parse some results, you just mission mesh with what you received now, with the result you had before to get a consistent state. Also, that part can unit test everything nicely and easy. And let's jump to the magic. It's a kind of magic. Fragments. Who is not surprised? It's the only way we have. We have an add activity of fragment, right? So we stuck here. That's what we have to work with. But there is nothing really wrong on having a fragment with zero UI. It's possible. It's right there on the APIs. And you have this singleton managing it externally, injecting what it wants to do. It returns an answer, and then we possibly should remove after that null there. We'll get into it. So we created a fragment with arguments saying those are the permissions you should be asking, please. Beat them. On resume is going to go and request it. Possibly you can fire on start as well, but I didn't test this code. I test the code you have like on the internal client's codes that I cannot divulge, but that's the idea. You can do it. On receiving, you have your pending results. You complete, see, I just put string, I was typing quickly. You put the permissions and the grant results. You put that inside the object. Okay, that wouldn't work, of course. And then you clear up. You gave the result. Your fragment did everything it should be doing. And after that null, you possibly just want to call get parent fragment manager and remove myself from it. And the fragment done its job. And a set pending result here as well, so you can receive externally. You will ask, but what about recreation, destroying thing? There are a few things around here. One, it's deprecated, and if anyone knows why Google did that, beat the person at Google. No, don't beat anyone, of course, but complain nicely why they're deprecating very good APIs. So you could have no view, and rotation is not going to do anything against it. They tell you to use a ViewModel. You could put this and pass to a ViewModel to get it again, I guess. It just feels roundabout without any real improvement. But I think they were not thinking about that use case when they deprecated it. Anyway, you can set it there. Yes, this will get lost on recreation, but we have access to the activity creation on the activity callback. So whenever the activity is getting recreated, is there on create somewhere lost in this code on the top? We can check, am I still waiting for a request to come back? If yes, I check on the activity. I should have a current fragment there waiting to do the job. I can just put my listener, it's not a listener, it's a completed deferrable, back into it. And yeah, this method, you imagine fragments, find on the support fragment manager, try to add to it. On activity start, you want to remember it. That is a very crude implementation. If I were to do an open source library that after this talk sounds like I should be doing, I would maybe try to use the lifecycle observer, the lifecycle owner, lifecycle, so I can actually observe, dispose, have a nicer reference of the current running activity than the poor man version of a weak reference. But that should work good enough for a first run. We can just improve a bit there. And as our request permission internal then from the previous slide, there is no magic. You get the current activity, you stick a permission fragment to it, you ask this fragment, I want those permissions. It's not a val. Again, that was very quick PowerPoint. And get that permissions from the top input where is a val in there, and you set the pending result. So on create, if the fragment's there, you put the pending result again because we got destroyed on the way. That part here, that's a rough idea, this slide. Don't copy this directly into a code. There will be a little more treatment to, to have this singleton service coordinating and listening to the fragment lifecycle. But that's the general idea. We are smart developers here. You can follow the idea and improve the implementation. And so then it's my question, is it clean now? Like, was it worth it doing all this? And I don't know, that's kind of just a general idea what could be in a real application. You have your permission service, just an interface going into your repositories. Your repositories can mark that for testing purposes. Maybe a permission repository goes straight to onboarding and say, please, would be nice if we can know where you are. Maybe a location repository that we only get location if it knows I can do it, if you have permission. Some map, where is my car? Where is my car keys? Where is my mobile phone? Well, it should be on my hand if I'm using the app. Something about the map, you can also reparse this data, so all your repository, your domain layer is there and testable, and your view models will be handling the permissions. You can check the onboarding view model is asking just for the location. Maybe there'll be a camera view model somewhere, we'll be asking for the camera, and they just want suspended function a way to execute the call. And there is a flow, and it goes along, a lot of other talks we have this weekend about flows and suspended and how view models and testing. So I think it's clean, I like. And we're hiring in case you want to do clean code with these beautiful people here on the front row and this idiot up here. And questions? That was it.